Hey heroes, welcome back. Sir Matt and Sir Ezra here with some news, some Wheel of Time casting news. We were just recording for our other project, Game of Thrones. Check it out, Bend the Knee. Great little podcast that we run there. And it came. We've been wondering for a while whether or not Min was going to be cast, when we would see the casting for Min, and we have it now. So why don't you tell us about our new cast member here?
Yeah, so we have two new cast members. We got Siuan Sanche and Min, right? So we have Kay Alexander is going to play Min. And so I was just doing some time researching her. Actually, we know her as from Game of Thrones, where she played Leaf, one of the children of the Forest. And oddly enough, I stumbled across this. So you sent me the thing earlier about Siuan Sanche being cast. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I did not see the thing about Min until we were actually just recording something else Game of Thrones related. We were talking about Roose Bolton, for anybody who knows that. And I was like clicking on it, and I was going through, and I was clicking on the actor because I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be on Wheel of Time. And so then I clicked on the Wheel of Time wiki, and I saw that Min was also cast, and I was like, okay, hold on a second, we gotta talk about this like right now because that's a character, right? So we've been talking. Were we even gonna see her season 1, right? Because now this to me tells me we are definitely getting to the end of the Great Hunt in season 1 if that's happening. That's. I don't think we're going past Great Hunt, but I think we are getting. With the leaked episode titles, we were like, "Is that the pace they're going to be on?" And now this, for me, 100%, that's the pace we're on. Where season 1 ends at the end of the Great Hunt.
Yeah, for sure. I was really happy to see this just because we weren't sure if the role was going to be somewhat. If you're just looking at the eye of the world, is it a little bit reduced? Like, is there enough role to go ahead and actually cast that individual? And I kind of think it's important to maybe see like I think there's several other characters that you should show in season 1. So I've even heard people talking about possibly things in The Dragon Reborn, taking some of characters that are introduced here that are important to Rand and the story and bringing them forward. One of the things that Rafe Judkins kind of talked about was we might even see maybe the Aiel, and see them much earlier than we would expect. So I don't know, that was cool. And then I guess seeing Min and having that be a solid casting, I thought was cool. And we had different reactions on this. So Kay Alexander, this is awesome. I think this is great. We were doing some research, just trying to look up some of her British acting career and things that she's been in. And this is going to be a huge role. This is huge because you're playing one of these major love interests in the story. Also, someone who has superpowers and is really cool. So we're not going to get into a whole bunch of spoiler stuff here, but I just think it's really it's awesome. It's a wild kind of. She feels like she has a Min vibe, and
right. She's I mean, yeah, she kind of fits that role perfectly. Min is like, I think it says in the book she's like 5'5". Kay Alexander's 5'1", so that'll work right there. And I think it's gonna work well. They're got a very diverse cast here.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is great.
No, I think it's awesome. I think they're really doing a great job. I think they're doing a great job casting this, because. Well, as you read the series, you start to hear, and I don't want to say too much for some of you who are new here, perhaps. Sir Matt has not read the entire series, so nor will he be reading your comments.
For anyone who's coming to this video because you haven't necessarily come across our podcast, it's my first read through the series. That's the way we're doing.
Yeah,
it, so.
And we're currently on The Dragon Reborn, which is pretty cool. But I guess I say that because I want to say characters who describe some of these individuals, in particular Min, and they describe them not in relationship to other characters, but you start to, as the reader, compare Min to other significant characters in the story, and this just feels good. This feels, right, good vibe, all of that. And I'm going based off of just like, I mean, what we know of her short little. I mean, I don't know much about her as an actress. This is literally just an instant reaction. We just jumped on here and I wanted to react to this and talk about this. Just like I was thinking about Leaf actually, and her playing Leaf, and just how Min kind of has that spirit of being more earthy and more
Right.
like like not wild, but like not wanting to wear dresses and not being a member of court and being paraded around and stuff. Like that's not who Min necessarily is. So I thought that was kind of this is cool, I guess, to me. So I do want to know what people think in the comments. I'll be looking at the comments to sort of see what people think about this Kay Alexander casting. It's cool. And to you, Sir Matt, you were saying, yeah, this is starting. You're starting to think that we're going to get that significant scene at the end of The Great Hunt where Min is there faced with someone else who we're not going to talk about.
Right.
And seeing sort of what happens to Rand and the end of The Great Hunt is fascinating. And I think,
Well,
yeah, if you're going to have Min there, I think this is cool. You can now do that. You can show us a lot more.
right. Well, that now this to me also sets up. We were talking about, trying to fit what are we actually going to pull out of the first two books for season one? What are we taking that we're like, hey, this is what's going in, and how are we going to make this work? And one of the episodes is called, I believe it's called The Flame of Tarvalin, right? And I think it's episode 6-ish, right? And I think it's the last one we actually have a title for of the proposed 8, which we know from that Rafe Judkins Dragon Con Zoom chat, right, where he said it's going to be 8. So we were talking about that episode. We said that might be the episode where you go back to the Great Hunt where Nynaeve is doing her trial. So that episode, it splits up. Sometimes you focus on these characters, sometimes you focus on these characters. You got Rand out doing his thing, and everybody's doing that stuff. And just like in Game of Thrones, which I think again is a great comparison. There are episodes where you don't see some of those characters. You don't see it for an episode or two, then they come back. So you and I had both kind of said, maybe that's the episode where we see Nynaeve doing her trials with the Aes Sedai. You've got Egwene there, and then like Elaine's there, like they're talking to some of these people. Min is also there, but at that point, Min hadn't been cast, and Elaine has also not been cast yet, but is probably going to be cast.
Yeah.
And now this is to me, okay, now you have another character there. So now that episode, if that is the route they go, okay, that's a little more flushed out. Now it's not just Nynaeve and Egwene. It's okay, Min's probably there. So that's probably going to be a Aes Sedai heavy episode is my guess of where you kind of go. And then because then there's so much stuff that those girls are all involved with right at the end of the Great Hunt, right? Where they're all running around, and Egwene gets captured, and they're doing all that, and then Min meets up with Rand later, and then also now that means that when we first meet Min in the Eye of the World, we're probably getting that scene as well. So
I think it's one of the most important scenes, like in the series, like to have her reveal some of this.
She prophesizes.
Yeah, it's such an important thing. So I kind of all along thought, we're going to see this. And when I saw that they were writing season 2 and they're thinking that far ahead, and they greenlight season 2, I'm like, all right, we're going to see a really good group. We're going to see they're going to cast all of this. It's going to be well kind of woven together, and it's great. Shows me that we. One thing we said in episodes 1 and 2 of this TV series, we talked about how they're going to adapt it, how they're going to make some changes. They might show us like an initial wave of characters who come across the peddler and who learn about Logain and learn about things that are happening far away. We could even have that prologue situation where it's a combination of Luce Theron and we're getting some New Spring stuff from Moraine and Lan. But it's a lot at the beginning. So I was thinking, if you bring in Min might be brought in with like a Tom Amyrlin, and we were saying maybe Dana, his girlfriend or whatever, later on could be there, his apprentice. Like you could see a second wave of characters in like the second or third episode. Like stuff might be shifted around and might not be. We might pick up those individuals later and in different batches than we do out the gate. It's gonna be a lot. But technically, she'd still be episode 2, or you're meeting a whole group of people in the beginning in episode 1, and then I just don't know, and I think it's fascinating is how much is too much,
because then you'd probably see Min episode 2 or 3, depending on how quickly that stuff.
Yeah, they go to Baerlon and they
You'd see Min
Dandelion.
2 or 3. You'd see her again probably 5 and 6, and then maybe 5, 6, 7, and 8 actually.
Yeah,
you'd probably
right.
Yeah. So because then you come back to her after the Eye of the World is over. So I mean, she's pretty prevalent in the first 2 books, but originally we were thinking you could take a lot of that stuff and shift it back to a later season, because you have to cast people, you have to get people there. You're like, especially some of these characters that it's like we need them for the long haul. Sometimes it's like you don't introduce them right away,
right?
Because you need to sign them to lengthy contracts.
Yeah,
and maybe you're just like, well, maybe we don't have the person we want, so yeah,
for sure.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I think this is big. This is like this is cool. It's like exciting news. It was dropped by, and again, everyone should be following this Twitter account. It's the official Wheel of Time on Prime account, where they're running a book club every Wednesday, and they started off with a bang. Got everybody excited with dropping this casting. And I do want to also talk, because it's weird, like I think you see Min, and it's almost like not to overshadow the other casting at all. And maybe if I'm missing a third and I just didn't see it, let me know in the comments.
I only saw the one.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I should say I only saw those 2. Excuse me.
Yeah. So the other casting that we have is Sophia Akonedo, and again, another British actress playing Siuan, the Amyrlin seat. Really cool. Rafe Judkins was on his Twitter, tweeting out some of the phrases that accompany the Amyrlin, and it was really kind of cool. So you should be following him as well on Twitter. I'll put some links down there in the description for folks. Those are the people you should be following. They're giving us the updates, and we can get hyped for the show. But yeah, really cool to see that, because we actually have a character who was cast like a young Siuan. Seeing possibly her grow up with, or getting to know a young Moraine possibly at the White Tower. And I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting to see like a young Moraine show up and us learn more about that, early on relationship. So yeah. So it's good. And so now it leads me to believe that next Wednesday, I mean, if I want to make a prediction, I think we're getting Elaine. You think next
so? Wednesday. Yeah.
Do you really?
Now there's no reason not to, because if you're gonna do Min season 1, you should just go ahead and do Elaine season 1.
Yeah. Have you wondered if there's
the only reason I say that is love interest for Rand, right? Because season 1, right? Do you just build the idea of Rand and Egwene season 1, and then suddenly start to shift it as you go forward, or is that just not really the case?
Well, and
because it's different when a book, when you have 20 chapters in between, and a show when you have 1 episode. It's like, hold on, that was really fast. Which is some of the things we've talked about with other scenarios as well, like Nynaeve and Lan.
Yeah, it is also. I was trying to think of like a correlation between like the time, or them releasing. Are they just releasing this casting news because they're trying to? They were, I don't know, teasing this out a little bit longer and just giving us little bits while they're still filming, or was their plan as they're working on the episodes that they're currently working on now to say, in case anyone sees this or there's any leak or whatever, we're going to go ahead and so. Maybe that's an indicator that she is there later on. But back to your point about whether or not, how do you introduce? Do you just build a Rand, Egwene heavy thing? I think you do. But what I think that it's going to be subtle is you're going to see Min, and when Rand turns and looks away, you're going to see Min continue to stare where he was at, or something. Real little subtle things that you're going to try to pick up, or you're going to want your new viewer to look at and stuff. So I don't know. I mean. It's important that they're there, though. It's important that they're a part of the main group, and that they're a part of this cast, and that we see them and get to know them and know their personality a little bit. Yeah, because I don't want it to be some super abrupt thing where it's like season 2, all of a sudden, boom, we're bringing in these different folk. And if we are going into the events of the Great Hunt, then they need to be there. Like we need to know,
right? Yeah,
who they are and what's up. Yeah,
yeah. So anyway,
that's not just Rand. It's like relationships with. They're all like super interconnected.
Right.
So,
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, well, my prediction for next Wednesday, right? Because we'll get another one next Wednesday. It seems like Elaine happening.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I think they're gonna hold off. I think it's gonna be a little bit longer. But that would be. I'd be stoked. I'd be 100% stoked. And if anyone's heard or there's like leaks, I don't know. I'm trying to follow the Daily Trolloc, some of the Reddits as well. I'll put some links down there. Go check those out if you're looking for more of that leaked stuff. It's exciting. I'm just hyped. I've always wanted this. I've always wanted a TV show for Wheel of Time, and I can't believe it's happening. And I'm just like literally so stoked. So anytime I see just a casting or something from the set or whatever, it just gets me super pumped. So yeah, the dragon, my friend, is going to ride again on the winds of time, and it's just amazing. Oh shoot. All right, so with that, thanks for checking us out again. We do run the podcast Heroes of the Horn. It is a first read for Sir Matt, and I have read the series several times, and it is a lot of fun to see Sir Matt kind of experience all of this, give his thoughts, and I think it will give you a new perspective on the series. And if you are a new reader, go check that out. Read along with us. I try to keep all this. I try to keep it spoiler free as much as possible, except for when Sir Matt starts asking questions about different regions, and then I have to kind of figure out what we want to say, what we don't want to say. But it's a lot of fun. So check that out. I'll put a link down in the description for the podcast. But here on YouTube, please subscribe, please like, and remember that the grave is no bar to our call.